our good friends, please leave now if you have not seen Doctor Strange and do not want spoilers, because here we go. It begins right now. Thanos. No, I'm just kidding.
Damn. Let him have it.
No, but okay. Really quickly, can I just talk about my new favorite Marvel villain?
Oh, yeah, go for it.
Yes, his name is Pizza Papa.
Pizza Papa. I can't wait for all the memes where it's like Thanos, Galactus, Ultron, Pizza Papa.
Best Doctor Strange fight I've seen. It was a good match.
It was the Michael Rooker to James Gunn's Sam Raimi. It was Bruce Campbell in a Sam Raimi film.
Yeah,
because he's in all of them.
No, it was awesome. I loved it. He put up a good fight. Pizza Papa, like level 1, Doctor Strange level 500. He gave a good fight.
Pizza Papa stood his own.
Yeah. He tried. He tried his hardest. Also, not the villain. I keep saying villain, but like Pizza Papa, kind of not the villain.
No, the villain, as we all predicted, was
Doctor Strange in that fight. I'm sorry. I'll move on from the meme. Yes, the actual villain of the movie
was in fact Wanda.
You guessed that.
The trailers were unclear.
Yeah.
Right.
Intentionally.
Right. But yeah. So before, here's how we normally do it. Before we start talking about what happened in the movie, how did you like it?
I liked it. You and I were just talking about this a minute ago. I actually have to rate it. I know, because we always do that with Marvel movies. I don't know if you want to save that for the end of this podcast, or if you want me to give it away right now. But I liked it. Was it one of my favorites? No. I had a few iffy things I want to talk about, but the good wholly outweighed the bad.
Yes.
It was a really solid film. Not one of my favorites. It lies somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, I always like to give things a second watch through, but like it definitely wasn't like, I keep comparing it to this because it just happened, but when I saw Shang-Chi, the first time I left the theater, I was like, that was incredible. I must see it again. And I can tell I'm not there. It was good. Like I said earlier, kind of the only thing I said earlier, it was an appropriately hyped sequel to the first Doctor Strange movie.
Yeah.
It's just one that, coming from, depending on who it's coming from, you unfortunately have a lot of other stuff other than that first Doctor Strange movie that you should watch before watching this one.
Well, does this make sense to you? Because I think we're kind of in a similar spot here. I would say, if I was showing somebody Marvel movies, the Marvel series, I would not be dreading watching this one. I wouldn't be like, okay, now we watch this one. However, if it was just on TV and I was scrolling through the TV channels, I wouldn't be hyped to land on it. I wouldn't be like, yes, and I can rest. I found a good show that I want to watch. I think I'd be like, all right, I'll put this on, but I'll keep scrolling.
I think in that situation it would depend on what part it's on, because there was a lot of...
There's a lot of lull, right?
There wasn't too much lull. What I was going to say is there was a lot of really cool action scenes.
When it was popping off, it was definitely popping off.
Also, I must say, this movie very early on in production was advertising itself as a horror film.
You walked out at the scariest part.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
I know you have your app.
I have my app. It's not sponsored, but it's called Run Pee. It tells you the best times to take a piss during the movie, and it gives you a brief synopsis of what happened while you were pissing, and also it tells you if there's after the credit scenes or not.
Yeah. Yeah, which you saved us. Pauline looked up, she just Googled the plot, and it usually gives you the after the credits. It didn't give that one.
Probably just because it wasn't important, but it did happen.
Yeah, right. I totally lost where this conversation was going. Oh, the scariest part of the movie. You didn't quite see most of the tunnel chase.
I didn't see any of it.
You didn't see any of it.
Yeah.
That was
my cue to leave was when Christine said, don't make me regret this.
Yeah.
And then I dipped.
I saw you getting up, and I was like, okay, that tells me we can unbuckle our seatbelts. We can chill out for a minute. But That app, I think that app screwed you this time.
I mean,
nothing important happened.
That's the thing. My options this time were like 20 minutes in, which wouldn't have worked, and then like 40 minutes in, but it said like a lot of plot but no action. I was like, well, not that one. And this one was like, this one straight up before I clicked on the synopsis was basically just a chase scene.
Yeah.
Exactly no plot. And then I always beat the clock. I read the synopsis and it was like, and then she gives him the watch. And then I showed up to the theater and she was like, here's this watch. I was like, neat. Cool. But no, what I was going to say is like, this movie wasn't a horror film.
No, there were definitely a few jump scares.
Right.
But
see,
crazy.
I can see the inner workings of a version of this film that was maybe more scary.
Yeah.
Like, I can definitely see why they said that. I can also see why they shied away from like advertising it like that when it started to come out, because there was some scary stuff. She came out of that gong like the fucking like ring
that was scary.
from The Ring.
That was very scary. But this chase scene, America Chavez.
Yes, that is her name.
Is her, Doctor Strange, and Christine.
Not Christ.
Not Christ. Sorry. Thank you for correcting my pronunciation. Are trying to evade Scarlet Witch, which I want to talk about the inner workings of Scarlet Witch in a minute.
Yeah, sure. Sure thing.
And it's essentially like, we're running, door, cut, and she just like breaks through it. It gave me some real Brightburn vibes.
Okay.
But then there's one where it shuts and she does nothing, and it's just like door, Doctor Strange, door, Doctor Strange, and it's like someone's like, where did she go? Door, and then she's just like, bleh! And it's like, and her eyes are all red, and it like really gave me Brightburn vibes.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out. Because I was pissing. I had to pee so bad this time, my fingers were starting to tingle.
You were quick.
Oh yeah.
That's why I wasn't even sure if you missed that whole scene, because I was like, he was in and out. I was gonna wave to you. I actually low-key waved to you, but I was like, I'm not gonna make a big deal about waving to him.
Loki was not in this movie. Sorry, that's not what you said. But like,
Did you think Loki was gonna be in this movie?
Somebody told me that the entire cast of Loki was gonna be in this movie.
None of them.
None of them were.
None of them. Someone from Captain Marvel was in this movie.
I thought that was like a hard, confirmed. I didn't think that was a rumor. I heard that Loki, Lady Loki, and Owen Wilson's character were gonna be in this movie, but apparently not.
No,
because I just watched it and. Wouldn't you know? It's not there. I don't want to talk about the Illuminati yet. I want to talk about that later.
Okay. I feel like there's a couple big things to talk about in this.
Yeah. We're definitely gonna talk about that.
Oh, have to.
But no, I
feel so far away from the camera.
Yeah. Sorry.
I think it might be this stuff. That's fine.
It's
not a big deal.
Yeah, my room
I'm just
is not.
curious because I feel like the camera's as far to me as it can be. I just don't know why I'm so far away. Not a big deal.
But I think I might have said this. I definitely said this to somebody. I don't know if I said it on Thunder and Lightning Gaming, but when I was watching WandaVision,
yes,
that like episode 3, episode 4, when you're still in the sitcom, but like shit's like clearly something's up. I was starting to get I was like, oh, I get why the Doctor Strange movies is going to be a horror film, because this is terrifying.
Yeah.
And I was sort of right. All the horror was Scarlet Witch themed.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Anything that was scary was based around her.
She's genuinely terrifying.
You know what's interesting? Because you're right. Scarlet Witch brought the horror.
Right.
Doctor Strange brought the what if. If there was anything about Doctor Strange in this film, I'd say it was like what if related.
Right.
Like everything. I want to talk about all Doctor Strange that we see at the very beginning, who's like comic accurate.
That was a very specific era of Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
That one was based off of the suit, the hair. That as soon as he showed up, I was like, oh, I get it. That opening part with him in America felt exactly like the opening pages of a crossover comic book. I was like, this is an amazing way to start this film.
Yeah.
This isn't our Doctor Strange. Clearly,
yeah.
We know what the movie's called.
Anybody who has a vague idea knows that that's not this Doctor Strange, except maybe these fucking people who sat next to me, which I do want to spend they're not worth a whole part in this, but I do want to bring them up.
Yeah.
Later.
Yeah.
No,
sure.
later.
No.
We're talking Doctor Strange. We're talking Doctor Strange. We're talking about how cool the alt version was of him. All were cool.
There was, what, 3? There was a 4th one teased, but he's died off camera. The one with that they made a statue of. So there was 3 in this film. There was 2 Christines. There was technically 2 Wandas. And that's it for multiple people, yeah? Yeah, there wasn't another Wong anywhere.
Yeah. Oh, can I talk about Wong briefly?
Yeah, go for it.
This is a little whoopsie-daisy from Marvel, and I want you to, next time you view this film, to pay close attention.
Okay.
His hair just changes lengths.
Oh, yeah?
Repeatedly throughout this film. You can tell when...
Oh, throughout the film.
Yeah, it's longer, then it's shorter, and then it stays short, and then it's longer again, and then it's short again.
Oh, I didn't notice
And there's only, one, light time jump right at the very end, which was the only time that I was like, I don't give a shit what his hair looks like in this scene. He could have gotten a haircut in the last couple days, but throughout the whole film I was like, are they fucking with me? Am I supposed to be noticing that his hair is different?
Yeah, you were expecting some sort of reveal.
Yeah, it was that noticeable for me that I was like, am I noticing?
It would appear as though
am I doing it good?
It would appear as though what you noticed was scenes that were reshoots.
I can tell you what order they shot these scenes in based off of Wong's hair. Just a little. I was just like, could have done a little better there, Marvel. You wanted to talk about Scarlet Witch, which I also want to talk about. You were talking about how the scary parts were her. I mentioned the what-if parts were Doctor Strange.
Right.
You don't want to talk about the Illuminati
Not yet,
so I think we'll get further down that rabbit hole in a bit. Do you want to keep going with Scarlet Witch? I don't want to derail the conversation.
Oh, I mean, I didn't think she would be the main villain. I thought she'd be an antagonist for sure, but literally right after that first scene, it's like, oh, main villain. And I thought, okay, I had 3 theories about this film that did not come true. One of them was I really thought Agatha was going to be in this movie, and then my theory was cemented when he went to her and was like, help us, and then she was like, JK, I'm evil. I was like, now he's going to go to Agatha, and she's going to be good for this movie because she's getting her own TV show. That didn't happen.
Yeah.
I thought that Shang-Chi was going to show up for sure because I feel like Wong definitely has a Shang-Chi button that he could just press. And when he was about to go 3-on-1 against those big, huge things at the end, I was like, do something.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That's a good point.
And I thought that this was more of a pipe dream, and I'm not surprised that this didn't happen. But I thought Deadpool was going to be in this movie. I thought Ryan Reynolds. I thought more like, hey, it's that guy from this thing. Oh, it's Blade, played by Wesley Snipes. That's weird.
Once they opened the doors with the Illuminati, which we're not going to talk about right now.
Right.
I was just sitting there like, hot damn, Deadpool might show up.
Right. Yeah, it was cool. It wasn't the it's odd. The multiverse has had such a slow trickle in the MCU, and I really thought this was going to be like the floodgates opening up, and I guess it is because 616 has America Chavez now, and she can do that whenever she wants. But I really thought this one was going to be like, oh, Sophie Turner's Jean Grey. Oh, Famke Janssen's Jean Grey. All these actresses and actors who played Marvel characters. Oh, the original Fantastic Four. Just a bunch of kooky shit that can just go away after this movie because we open a multiverse and we're going to close it by the end of the movie.
But they didn't close it.
Right.
And that might be why that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Into the Spider-Verse in Spider-Man 3, there's hard and we close the book. The multiverse is back to normal.
Right.
This one didn't.
No.
This one left it open.
Well, because I feel like this was the first hard confirm for the character Doctor Strange that not only does the multiverse exist, but we just have access to it now.
Yeah.
Because it existed before, but it was a mistake that Spider-Man did.
I've got a question.
Yeah, sure.
An MCU canon question.
Yeah.
Did Loki unintentionally create the multiverse?
He did. I believe he did. I believe he is the reason that we have access to the multiverse.
Yeah, right.
That is the impression I got from the terrible series finale of the Loki television show. Sorry, I have things to say about Marvel things, and I just don't care who knows it. Yes, I believe that was the start. We all thought it was going to be WandaVision when Quicksilver showed up.
Right.
But that was just a dumb joke, I guess. And then Loki was the hard, like, look, it's the multiverse, right? And then Spider-Man had its own localized, like, Sony-driven, like, Spider-Verse kind of. And now it's like what's canon and what's not canon in the MCU? Fuck you. We'll do whatever we want.
Right.
And I kind of love that. I kind of really like that.
When America Chavez and Doctor Strange were just jumping universes,
Yes.
I was so ready for an Into the Spider-Verse thing. Hard get because of Sony and Disney's contract. They kind of wanted to. There was a cartoon one for a second.
That cartoon one was odd because at first I was like, oh, they're just in What If now because it's a cartoon. But then I was like, oh, no, this is clearly supposed to be like an old-timey, like you can hear the music. Oh, my God. Can I talk? Sorry, before we talk about the Illuminati, can I talk about the music fight that they had?
Oh, yeah.
That was so cool. I think that might have been my favorite scene in the whole movie. That was so cool.
Good on you, Danny Elfman.
Oh, my
You
God.
didn't disappoint yet again.
If you haven't seen the movie, Doctor Strange is fighting What If Doctor Strange, and like a bunch of sheet music gets scattered everywhere, and Doctor Strange like floats them all, and then he like rips the notes off and turns them into runes, and they start throwing them at each other. But as they're throwing them at each other, it's like making a new song out of like parts of old songs that you probably recognize.
And also, he's a string section. I don't know, you probably noticed this. He's a string section in What If evil Doctor Strange is an organ. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that was awesome. Because Doctor Strange's theme, the one that Michael Giacchino wrote, is a harpsichord piece.
Right.
So it's they're definitely going for like a very like I'm a classy I don't know.
No, I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying.
At least in the musical styling.
But I'm not British.
No. Can't fucking stress that enough. I'm from New York. And
I'm from New York.
I'm from New York. This is my magic cape. It's more of a cowl or whatever the fuck he said in this one. He is getting better at doing an American accent, but hot shit. No one would have given a shit if he was like, oh yeah, I was raised in Great Britain. But now I live in New York because the hospitals are better or whatever the fuck. I don't care the reason. Just let my man Benny Cumberbatch use his own voice.
I bet you if it came out now, he would have. I mean, if Shang-Chi can exist in like, they're just like, this movie is all about China. It takes place in China.
Right.
And it's about Chinese mythology.
Right.
I feel like if somebody was like, yeah, make Doctor Strange British today, they wouldn't be like, fuck you.
Right.
Do you see what we're trying to create?
Read this stack of comics. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about the thing that I assume is going to be the first thing to get spoiled in the next couple weeks. The thing that everyone on Twitter is going to want to talk about. Which is the Illuminati. So for those of you who don't know, obviously the Illuminati may or may not be a real thing in real life, but in the Marvel comics, it's an X-Men thing specifically.
Is it? Okay, that wasn't a stupid decision that the movies made to call it after.
No. The X-Men Illuminati is sort of like, so this is a very like interpreted version of that, obviously, because there wasn't exactly one X-Man. But essentially the Illuminati is like, what if we weren't good or evil, we were just elitists? And then they formed the Illuminati, and then trouble arises with that, and they were like, that's how the Hellfire Club came to be. There's a lot of like X-Men family, like, well, you're not a pure X-Men, that's bullshit type stuff.
Sure.
But it all started with the X-Men Illuminati. The Illuminati in this movie was just a bunch of characters that we should and do recognize for some reason. Do you mind if I go over all of them?
No, go right ahead.
So one of them, the only dead one, is Doctor Strange, who we do not meet. One of them is Mordo, which I called that too. It's an alt-world Mordo. When I saw the trailers, I was like, it's probably not his Mordo. Not just because of the hair. I was just like getting that feeling. And then we got Captain Marvel, except it's not Brie Larson. It's, I don't remember her name, but her like best friend from the war. And then we have Captain Carter from the cartoon, played by Haley Atwell. And then we have Black Bolt, which was crazy. That was Black Bolt from the Inhumans show, played by the guy who plays him in the Inhumans television show.
That's cool.
The one that like everyone hated and everyone said was boring and the worst Marvel thing ever.
Still, though.
It was still cool.
They made him blow up his own head.
That
was
disgusting. That was probably the most graphic Marvel thing ever.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking in that moment. I was like, as far as Disney MCU goes, that takes the cake.
And then
that opens the doors for Deadpool, though. Just how graphic that scene was.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess you're right. And then I feel like I'm missing
Yeah, you are.
one.
You're kind of missing a huge one.
Well, I feel like I'm missing. I guess not. So they had Reed Richards from the Fantastic Four, and he was. This I thought was very interesting. He was played by. Give me a sec. His name's not Jim. His name is John Krasinski.
There you go.
He was played by John Krasinski. And as soon as he showed up, I was like, bitch, say bet. Like, because John Krasinski is like the most number one, like, fan casted MCU thing ever. Like, and I disagree with this, but the second they announced that Fantastic Four was going to be MCU, everyone was like, get John Krasinski and Emily Blunt. And I'm like, but the fact that he's Mr. Fantastic in this film cements in my mind that he's not going to be Mr. Fantastic the next time we see him, because Mr. Fantastic's not supposed to have a beard, but like, who gives a shit if he does? John Krasinski's a busy man who's more into directing nowadays anyways. And plus everyone on the internet was like, get John Krasinski to do it, and then they did.
Right.
I was just like, this was not a rumor. This was a fan cast, and like, now it's happening on screen.
Is it just me? Well, I was just gonna say, is it just me, or was I wasn't surprised when I saw him as Mr. Fantastic. That wasn't spoiled, though. That was just everybody suggesting it should be
exactly. That wasn't spoiled or rumored. It was just everyone was like, John Krasinski should do it, and Marvel in this very, very contained little universe was like, all right, sure. But I bet you when they announced like Fantastic Four movie coming July 2024 or whatever, it's going to be a different actor, because this was their way of being like, there you go, he was perfect just like you thought he was. That's not who's playing him though.
Yeah.
And then the last one, and I don't know if you caught this because I don't even know if you know this, but the last one was Professor Xavier, and the second.
Well, yeah, I knew that.
No, not that part. Sorry, I just worded that weird. I know you know that Patrick Stewart played Professor Xavier. When he showed up, they played a leitmotif of the 1997 X-Men cartoon theme song.
Oh, really?
They have been like they've been refusing to do that for so long. Every X-Men movie that came out, I was like, is this the one? And one of them took place in the 90s. I was like, is this the one where they'll play the theme song? And they didn't. The literal second that an X-Men character showed up in the MCU, they wasted no time to play that song.
That's cool.
As the second it happened, I was like, fucking finally. I hope that becomes like, the Spider-Man theme is basically the old Spider-Man theme in the MCU.
Yeah.
So I really hope that sticks, especially because more of that old X-Men TV show is coming out soon. They're making a new season of it.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I can't believe, like, leave it to Marvel, leave it to the MCU to be like, the fuck you guys, we're going to use obviously we're going to use the most iconic piece of X-Men music ever. Yeah, of course we're going to do it.
Right.
The first time an X-Men character shows up.
I was not in love with the chair they chose for him.
That is a comic accurate chair.
I kind of figured this is probably an unpopular opinion. I'm not down for the comic accurate stuff in the MCU. I like the realism.
Well, this was a very future. I think it fit well because this was a very like futuristic like timeline, like multiverse that he landed on.
But like, I'm not digging Scarlet Witch's look.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm just like, why? Why do you have the tiara? Why? What purpose is that serving your costume?
I mean, I guess from a costuming perspective, it doesn't. But the reason she looks like that in canon is because that's like what the Scarlet Witch looks like. You know what I mean? Like
they haven't told me that, but if it turns out that like, well, she's been possessed by, which is what it seems like they've been alluding to.
Right? Yeah,
that's
what the season finale of WandaVision, where she was like, she put the tiara, she changed her outfit, and then Agatha was like, "You're the Scarlet Witch."
If they give me, maybe I didn't catch that, or like catch the meaning behind that. I know what you're talking about, but if they give me reasons why they decided to look like super dorks, I'll accept it. But like, one thing I love about the MCU is they strive to give you that sense of realism.
Yeah.
Something that makes it a bit more believable.
It's interesting you bring that up during the discussion about this movie, because I feel like Doctor Strange has a very realistic outfit, because he's just sort of in like traditional monk robes. He just happens to have
I've always loved Doctor. He looks outrageous. If you saw somebody look like that on the sidewalk, you'd be like, what the fuck? And this movie kind of even pointed that out, that that typically do.
There's more than a couple moments where it wouldn't be weird if someone in the scene was like, was that fucking Doctor Strange?
Somebody was. There was a scene where she was like, can I film you? And he was like, no.
Oh, right, yeah. I also I really liked when he departed the wedding, because it was just sort of a moment where it's like, so rarely do we see this, because the plot of every movie is Earth's going to get destroyed, you got to eat Thanos or whatever. It's so rare that we see them just fighting crime, saving the day. So
rare that I'm glad you brought it up. I was going to make a point to mention, I think that's the first time. Let me back up. It did tie into the plot of the rest of the film.
Right.
Before it did, I was sitting there like, I think this is the first like non sequitur, like just has nothing to do with anything that's going on. Doctor Strange is going to say, gave me a very Incredibles feel. Yeah, Iron Man did that a few times, but every time Iron Man did it, there was like a world. It was part of a political world-ending event or something. Iron Man always revolved around war. So I think that's why it never clicked with me. I was like, well, this is his MO. He was going to do this anyways. There's a very quick shot at the beginning of Infinity War when all shit is breaking bad at the very beginning of the film, and people are running away from him, and he's walking towards it, and there's a person that like is trapped in their car, and he like takes an extra second to like help her out and like be like, oh, you're safe now. And that's kind of the only other time I felt like, a superhero. That's a superhero. Right. He saved the day for that person. I want to say The Incredibles again. Yeah, go for it. Because I've never really felt that feeling before with another movie except for this one, where I was just like, oh yeah, I don't know what's happening. I don't care what's happening. Yeah. That hero's going to save the day, and I'm pumped to see it, except for Spider-Man. But with Spider-Man, they make a joke out of it. He's like, it's like, dun, 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 here's your cat. Right. All right. Or I feel like in Homecoming there was a few jokey beats where it was like, I'm here to save the day, and it's like, no, we're good, man. Right, you could go back to school or whatever. So like Spider-Man's trying to do that. But it was just it was cool, and it was definitely intentional, where they were like, we're not going to explain what's going on. There's a monster, there's a hero, and you get it. There was no like he turns to Christine and is like, I think the world is at danger, gotta go. He was just like, he was basically just like, well, I was attending this wedding, but time to fight crime. Another day at the office. Yeah, that was really cool. Very non-MCU, but I liked it. It was a breath of fresh air. I really liked that. How did Wong survive the fall? I actually do have an answer to that. He kind of fell into clouds. He could have immediately, I mean, he still would have hurt himself a lot, but like I don't think he fell as far as, he didn't, because he threw the thing and he was like right there. So you think he literally just fell? Yeah, because survived, they made a big fog of clouds, and he fell into the fog, and I was like, he definitely just landed right there. Right, he didn't. Yeah, no, I was definitely like, he's gonna come back. But when they showed him like on a cliff face, I was like, ugh. Listen, anytime Wong was on the screen, I was concerned about the state of his hair. More than the character's life, I needed to know what his hair was doing. Speaking of the character's life, I'm really surprised he made it out of this movie. I know. They really, you and I were both sitting here like, we were both, man, team, that sucks. This is that Wong's gonna die. Because he's the Sorcerer Supreme, and that's got to be temporary. Right. But apparently not that temporary, because here's movie 3 of him being the Sorcerer Supreme. He wasn't even in Shang-Chi. In the scene that took place in after the credits scene, where it makes you think he's talking to him, but he's talking to other people, and it's like, oh, Doctor Strange isn't even a big deal right now. And then you see
you see Spider-Man, you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And then I thought, like, what a perfect way to get him to be the Sorcerer Supreme again. Scarlet Witch is going to kill Wong.
Yeah.
She did not. He made it out
She tried.
just all right.
She tried. I like Wong. I'm glad he's sticking around. Same with you though.
I like
the
Wong,
logical
too.
the logical side of my brain was like, well, there's a character here that like is important enough that people are gonna be upset, but not important enough that it's gonna destroy the plot of Doctor Strange if he dies.
Right. So were you familiar with the after the credits character? Because I was not, and I looked her up during the credits.
Not in the slightest.
All right, allow me to educate the both of us.
Sure. And the viewers.
So a character shows up dressed in purple, played by Charlize Theron, and she's playing a character called Clea, and I saw that in the credits.
She gave me big Eternals vibes.
Clea, otherwise known as Dr. Clea Strange, is a
shit.
fictional character appearing in American comic books published by Marvel Comics. She is a half Faltine, half dark dimensional mortal sorceress and the disciple, lover, and eventual wife of Dr. Stephen Strange and his ultimate successor as Sorcerer Supreme. That's all comic book stuff, obviously.
Right. Oh,
I'm not
sure.
spoiling future MCU stuff. So
Right.
that's what that character is.
Okay, that's cool. That's exciting. They dared to go where Star Wars wouldn't. They gave Luke Skywalker a wife, and they're gonna let him have her. It seems.
Yeah, it would appear as though she is a dweller of the dark dimension, which is why she was able to open the thing because she lives there. It said I don't know what Faltine is. It's a word that clicked in my head because Doctor Strange says that word during some of his attacks in Marvel vs. Capcom. But it specifically referred to her as a dark dimension mortal. So it seems like there's humans from Earth living in the dark dimension or something like that, and she's one of them.
Okay.
So she has like a Faltine dad and an Earth mom or something like that.
I love the aesthetic of the dark dimension.
It's great, right? And that is like...
you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the bowling alley.
Reminds you of the bowling alley.
When the lights would go out, they put the neon lights on.
Yeah,
now
like...
we're just bowling.
Yeah,
they got the disco ball.
Right.
Going.
That had a name. Cosmic bowling.
Cosmic bowling.
Yes.
Yeah. I loved it.
Pretty sure that's what that concept is called
Hey,
worldwide. Yeah, what's up?
Where like society says we can go bowling again. We haven't in a long time.
Yeah, we should.
You
I was
and I love
actually just thinking about that the other day. My mother bought
Tell me she bought you a bowling ball.
no, she bought my dad Tekken 7, and Tekken 7 has a bowling mini game, and we were playing the fuck out of it. It was very fun.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you had a few issues with the movie, and I was curious what.
Oh, yeah, okay, so I'm blanking on one. Very minimal things, but...
right.
Her name is Christ?
Her name's Christ, yes.
Yes, okay,
Christ,
so...
I think Christine.
Christine, in one scene in the... what's it called?
Illuminati?
No, it's a building. It's in Doctor Strange's house.
The Sanctum Sanctorum.
Yes, thank you. But not the what if Doctor Strange when she's fighting off these demons.
Right.
She just kind of cracks open a case, and it's like in case of emergency, and she's like, "Oh, I know what this is." And I was like, "I don't know what this is." And then
she's like spitting off one-liners. That was very strange.
I was just like, "All right, movie, let's remember this is." We're not fucking around.
I mean,
these movies.
This version of Christine is more knowledgeable about this stuff than regular Christine.
I feel like she even looked at it and was like, "What the fuck is this? I'll just do this." Oh, it worked. Okay.
What she did was so specific. She looked at this thing and was with recollection and was like, she grabbed. It was like a swift 1-2. Grab the thing. Grab the candle. Boom. I know that it. Not only do I know that it shoots fire, but will expel demons.
That's right. And that's where in my head I was like, writers, come on. If you're going to pull some shit like that, maybe give her one sentence where she's like, "Well, I studied up on the shit.
Right.
I know what's going on."
Yeah. The only thing we have like that is the fact that she did, in fact, at one point have a relationship with her dimension's Doctor Strange.
Yeah. How willing is he to, like... I mean, I guess they
Typically
are like
not,
a school.
right?
Right, but they are like a school, though. But it seems like there's, I don't know.
But the Sanctum
they
isn't
have
a school.
weird
The Sanctum
rules.
is like, and most of his rules seem to be don't fucking touch anything in
Right,
the Sanctum,
Right,
Thor.
right. No, you bring up an excellent point. So I just, it kind of took me out of it for a minute. I was like, plot armor.
Right.
They need to escape this situation, so they're going to.
No, I thought it was I thought it was particularly odd that she basically just said a one-liner. That was the moment where I was like, I get it. You made Army of Darkness. I get it. I know.
I guess another thing in that scene, if I'm recalling correctly, this was another thing I wanted to bring up. She essentially just was like, I don't know, just tell him no, Stephen Strange. And he was like, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I will. And then he rolled a 20 for diplomacy,
and
they decided to join them.
He had a cape made of demons.
Yeah. That was like, do you remember that phone game we had?
AI Dungeon.
AI Dungeon. Do you know what I'm about to say?
No, but I remember the lost potential that was AI Dungeon.
I played a round of that. It was perfect. It was during a zombie invasion, and I didn't want to kill anything. And I was getting attacked by a zombie, and I was like, I befriend the zombie. And they're like, yeah, you befriended the zombie. And then it happened again, and I was like, I befriend the zombie? And they were like, yep.
That became
did.
your mash A of that campaign.
I had an army of zombies by the end of and I was just chill with them all. They weren't an army. We weren't fighting anybody, but I just befriended all the zombies.
You essentially made a church of
I
zombies.
won the game, by the way. That was the one where I won the game, where it said the end.
That's right. That's the playthrough where we found out that AI Dungeon has a conclusion to it.
I think they were sick of my bullshit, and they were like, all right, whatever, dude. We don't want to play anymore. How's that?
You say they, but, like, it is just an algorithm.
No, I know. The algorithm didn't want to play with me anymore.
The algorithm was like, he's bested me.
But that's what this felt like. I was like, I know, cat, water. I shouldn't have done that.
No, you're good. I wasn't even looking at that.
But, that's just what that felt like to me. I was just like, good roll, Doctor Strange. I was like, you did it.
It's a fucking great roll.
Yeah, because they were kind of about to kill you or something, and then you just said, what if you didn't? And they were like,
dude, I know you've never DM'd, but, like, what if I was the player and you were the DM and I was fighting, what was that, probably like 15 demons, let's say.
If I said, yes, I know exactly what you're about to say.
If I said, what can I roll to make these demons my slave and put them on as a cape and fly with them?
Let me give you the opposite. Let me give you a player's perspective. If I was playing Doctor Strange in that situation, you said 15 demons are like dragging you to hell or something right now, whatever they were doing to him.
Right. What do you do?
Give me a check. Give me a whatever check. And I rolled like 13, and you were like, all right. Well, it passes, and they're on your team now. I think I'd have a list of questions for you as to what happened in that check that I just was not aware of. And that's what this movie did.
Right.
But we couldn't ask the DM what happened to pass this check. It just happened, and we all had to just be okay with it.
Yeah.
There were just little blips in this movie where I was like, I feel like if this movie lacked anywhere, it was attention to detail in some writing aspects.
There's something that have you ever seen? Now there's a lot of movies that classify under this title, but have you ever seen the second Lilo and Stitch movie? The one I believe it's called
long time ago.
I believe it's called Stitch Has a Glitch.
I recall. I couldn't tell you a single thing about the movie.
Okay, so at the very end of the movie, Stitch dies. They don't fix the problem that he's having with whatever he's having. He dies. Jumba, his father figure, is like, everyone's sad. They leave him on like a hill or whatever. They walk away, and then he comes back to life, right? And then they're like, oh my God, you're back, and you're fixed. Everything's fine. What happened? And then I believe it's Nani turns to Jumba and was like, what happened? How is he back? And Jumba just kind of looks at her as like, it's a miracle. And then the movie ends. And that is like maybe the worst bit of like writing I've ever seen in a film ever. I was like, oh, okay. And I feel like when Christine was like, you're Doctor Strange, you can control spirits, just do it. And he was like, Oh yeah, I feel like that's the closest that they've gotten to it's a miracle.
Well,
That's the explanation.
let me give you a bit newer one. The Emperor's back somehow.
That is the closest Star Wars. Yeah.
The canonical explanation
I believe
for why he was back
I
is
believe
oh.
I believe the phrase is somehow Palpatine has returned.
Yeah, whatever.
Do you think
the canonical phrase is the Emperor
in that
and then
scene,
that's it.
in that scene, Oscar Isaac has a real like about him, he's just like somehow the Emperor returned. Do you think that was not acting? He was just like he read the script and he was like, I'm gonna have to fucking say this in front of a camera.
Yeah, I'm sure there was a bit of I can't wait for people to be angry about this. But that's kind of the vibe I got. It's not a big deal. It didn't ruin the movie.
That's the thing. We're not. It's not the caliber of somehow Palpatine has returned. We're not sitting here like, wow, what a terrible movie. Why did they do that? But it was a weird moment where we were just like, oh.
There was just a few moments like that, and there weren't many, but there were a few where I was like, this scene could have been structured a bit better.
I think even if that scene had no Christine intervention, and it was just like, he internalized how to do it, like in his head he was like, no, I'm stronger than these people, and he like, whether visually or with, dialogue, he just like figured it out, he was struggling. We've seen this before. The superhero's struggling, maybe they're under a giant foot, maybe they're fighting a thing that they're fighting three things at once and they don't want to, or they shouldn't be because they're one person, and then they just like get it, and they're like, wait a minute, I'm fucking Captain America, and then they do it, and then the scene ends. I feel like one of those would have been fine, but instead we got, just fucking do it, just do it. I know you could do it, just do it. And he's like, I can.
So, big question, Christine.
Yeah, Christine. What about him?
Christ Frankenstein put together. Is that Jesus resurrected?
Christine. So you're okay. So. Okay, you're saying Frankenstein's monster, but some of the body parts they use are Jesus.
No. I'm saying Christ dies, comes back 3 days later. Everybody's like, oh my God, it's Christine. Because he's alive again. Assuming that the novel was out then, that's what they would refer to him. Because he's alive again and he was dead at one point, but now he's alive. Yeah, just think about it. Just think about it. Everybody think about it.
Here's my 2 cents on that. I think you're right. I think had the Mary Shelley book been out at that point, that's what they would call him or equate it to. I will push back at that and say that Frankenstein is like 9 people molded together.
I get it. It's not a perfect.
Right. No, but it's definitely given the
Like, how many other people can you relate to, hey, you were dead, now you're alive again? I got a cool nickname for you.
Plus, the operative word, zombie, is a rather modern word. That hasn't been around since.
Okay, I mean...
That's why I
Frankenstein came out 2,000 years later.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like... I'm just saying, like, even if you brought the Christ's resurrection up to post-Mary Shelley, you're still missing the word zombie by, like, 80 years.
Zombie Christine. I like Christine better.
I think it misses the... I think if they were going to make a... This is the weirdest conversation.
I'm sorry. We can drop it anytime you want.
I feel like if they were going to make a Christ Frankenstein movie, it would be Christenstein, not Christine.
That's a good one.
Because I feel like anything that... Any portmanteau of blank and Frankenstein has always been Blankenstein.
Yeah, no, you got me there.
Scubenstein, shit like that.
Regardless, she did a horrendous job at being resurrected Jesus.
At playing resurrected Jesus, but he's a Frankenstein's monster. So, like, here's what's up, right? Wanda's still alive, probably, yeah.
I'm okay
because they didn't show her.
Oh, no, right. I forgot how we ended things.
That would be a crazy way to get rid of that character for good.
I didn't see the life leave her eyes. She's still alive.
I think if that character dies, it's got to be as a hero, and we've got to have like a "Heaven is real and Vision is here" scene. Like, I think that's the only way that. Oh, also, there's another Vision out there that we haven't gotten closure on yet. There's more. There's
her story.
I think next time Wanda shows up, she's good for sure. Because WandaVision, she was sort of evil. This movie, she was the main antagonist.
Right. I need Wanda to do something else because I'm if it goes any further than this, I am sick of this arc of Wanda.
I agree. I think this is the last straw. I think, like, this no further. Like, next time she shows up, it can't be like, all I care about is my kids that don't exist.
Just tie it up. Finish it up. We get it. You miss your kids. I'm sorry.
I think that's
this
what
character needs something else.
I think that's what that super prolonged, like, Wanda touching Wanda's face scene was her finally not only coming to terms with the fact that she was wrong, but also translating to the audience that this is the end of the I need Billy and Tommy arc.
Right. I'd be okay with that. I'm not going to complain about it now. If it happens again, I'm losing interest in this character.
Here's the thing,
plummeting interest.
And here's the thing, right? Other Vision comes back. He's totally fine. Everything's fine. They actually do have Billy and Tommy. I'm fine with that. But if her whole motivation in Avengers 9 or whatever is like, for my kids still somehow, I'm going to be like...
Yeah, I'm going to have a lot of eye roll going on with her. Oh, man. How's about that? Who's the tougher Avenger scene with the Illuminati and Scarlet Witch?
Oh, I know.
Who's the toughest Marvel character? She wrecked Charles Xavier.
Why?
I don't think it would have been that easy.
Why was she... It's because she was not the Scarlet Witch yet. I was going to ask, why was she so ineffective versus Thanos?
Right.
Like,
I think you nailed it.
She no problem murdered, 6 Avengers, essentially?
Without trying.
Without trying? In a t-shirt? she was in sweatpants and a t-shirt, and she
looked Charles Xavier right in the eye and said, I'm going to fuck with you for the next 5 minutes, and then I'm just going to kill you.
Right.
Without you even trying. He even knew it was coming, and he was like, there's nothing I can do about it.
And as that scene was happening, I was definitely like, oh, God, character death. But it was such a, it was one of those scenes where I was...
Mr. Fantastic into string
Oh,
cheese.
yeah, she undid Mr. Fantastic, which was just crazy. But the whole time I was watching that, I was like, we're in Dimension 800, whatever the fuck they called it. These characters could also all individually come back again if they wanted. Even Captain Carter.
Absolutely.
I'm like, if she shows up again, I'm not going to be too like.
They definitely dumbed down Captain Carter's death scene, and it made it look so old. Captain Carter's death scene looked like it was the way they angled the shots.
I'm kind of a little she got chopped in half. Yeah.
Yeah, but they obviously didn't want to show that for the kids.
Right.
But the way they shot it, it was like, am I fucking watching the first Lord of the Rings movie? The angles were just so dramatic.
Yeah.
So I was like, this isn't how movies are shot anymore.
Right.
Not a big, I sound so fucking, I sound like such an asshole. But like, it's just stuff I've noticed, like, I don't know. Over the years, you and I have just gotten so attuned with like movies and how they're shot and all this. It's just you notice things like that where an angle of a shot just could be out of date. It's just not how things are done anymore.
Right.
And that one, to me, I just picked up on it. I was like, this close-up shot, and we're getting like essentially the actress was just like, they're like, all right, close-up shot. And that was the whole, like Darth Maul. Actually, Darth Maul is the perfect example.
Right. They don't actually show it.
Yeah, his eyes just are like. And it's like he's going to throw up or something, and that's the whole shot, and that's just what this was again.
Right. That's a good point. He was literally also chopped in two.
I actually, when we have access to this footage, it might be cool to do a comparison shot and be like, why were these shot so similarly? Like almost 25-year difference in these films' releases. And
it's an interesting study into the MPAA and how every few years they get a little bit more loosey-goosey because Phantom Menace is rated PG, and this movie was rated PG-13.
Oh,
and it was essentially like you said, the same scene, the same amount of censoring. It was even the same kind of death.
Yeah. Well, I have a feeling it's language for this movie, because they definitely don't say shit in Phantom Menace.
Right.
But I still hear you. It's like, why did this shot have to be done this way for a PG-13 movie?
Because the thing is, like, movies do this all the time. Show her getting chopped in half. Just don't have her bleed everywhere.
Right.
That's how they get away with violence in movies nowadays. I mean, just don't make her bleed.
Actually, let's talk about the fact that they blew somebody's head off in this movie.
That was fucking disgusting.
And it stayed in his helmet.
Yeah, it was gross. Not to mention the giant eyeball. That was also gross.
Yeah, Pauline's got a tough time with eyeball stuff. I actually unintentionally distracted her. I was talking to her, and she didn't hear what I said, so she turned to me. So it kind of she missed like a little bit of it. So I was kind of glad that
Has
happened.
she seen the Suicide Squad? Because there's some eyeball shit in that fucking movie.
I don't think she has yet.
Okay. Just warn her. Maybe the most visceral eyeball scene in any movie ever. It's fucking gross.
I feel like there's so much more we could say about this movie, but we are,
right.
We do have another podcast.
Soon.
We actually, literally, as far as I know, have somebody waiting for us to do another podcast so that they can listen in.
No, I think it just, I like to. Before we end, we got to get your rating.
Yep.
I always like to watch it a second time because there's something after post Rogue One. I always like to give it a second watch through because maybe it's not as good as I thought it was. This one seemed good. This is like it's not perfectly down the middle. It's like just over the that was good, but it wasn't bad and it wasn't middle of the road. I think it was good. And I'll say this. I saw one criticism over and over again before I saw this film. I totally disagree. This movie was not boring. I feel like a lot of people were like, "Oh, that movie was boring." I don't think it was boring at all. I think it started pretty quickly and it stayed.
The Eternals was boring.
The Eternals was The Eternals was. I watched that movie in theaters and I was like, okay, and then I watched it again on Disney Plus. I was like. Ooh, okay, it's not bad. It's just, man, that's a lot of movie.
That movie I won't dedicate myself to unless somebody is determined to watch the MCU with me. Then I will watch it. I will only watch it if I'm doing an MCU run. I will not just sit down and watch that film.
But you've seen it twice, right? You said that?
Oh, yeah. I watched it in theaters and I saw it with my parents.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. Yeah. I will say, I really.
There she is.
Yeah, there she is.
Scarlet Witch poster over there.
I was about to completely repeat myself. We already talked about that. But yeah, that was good.
You want my rating?
I do want your rating.
Based off of everything we just said, and I think you're right, it's a little over middle of the road. I'm gonna give it a 3.5.
Okay,
just a little over, right down the middle.
All right. Yeah, it's. I don't know. I feel like the MCU post-quarantine, we're in sort of like this nebulous,
It's a weird phase.
I feel like Phase 4 is going to be the phase where we're just sort of waiting for Phase 5 to start. Yep. Does that make sense? I feel like we're waiting.
I hear you.
I feel like we're waiting for the other shoe to drop, and I feel like the closest we got was Loki. I feel like Loki is the only movie of these movies, other than the fact that the multiverse exists now, although that's kind of Loki's fault too, thematically speaking, because it's 100% Loki's fault canonically. I feel like Loki was the closest thing we got to something's coming.
Right.
But Spider-Man was kind of a contained story. This was very much not contained, but I don't know. I'm just waiting for. I think Thor: Love and Thunder might push me in the direction of okay, I sort of see.
Here's where we're going.
Yeah, that movie, by the way, comes out tomorrow. I didn't realize that movie was so close.
Yeah, that movie's around the corner. I'm so excited for that.
One quick question I had, if you don't mind me asking. Something I've seen this Thor trailer 5 times already. Something I didn't pick up on. Until this watch through, do you think they're gonna do Thor is bisexual thing?
Somebody mentioned that in the theater.
Oh, really?
Well, actually, the fucking girl next to me. Oh my god.
Did you still want to talk about her? Because you haven't yet.
I'll talk about them a little bit, but I want to answer your question first. It's the scene where he's staring into Star-Lord's eyes. The girl next to me was like, "Is Thor gay?" And I was like.
Exactly that loud she said it.
Yes. And I was like, I first of all, thanks for opening my eyes to the fact that might be what this scene is explaining. Right. But shut the fuck up.
For some reason, it was this watch through, and I was just in that moment.
Did you hear her?
No, I didn't hear her.
I didn't think about that at all until she mentioned it, and I was like, oh, maybe he has a thing for Star-Lord. I don't know.
Right, because that's kind of he had that look. It wasn't a look of like, I'm a big fan of you, Star-Lord. It was a look of like, I don't know. It was a look of like, you're kind of cute, and I want to be looking at you, not them, type thing. But also the movie's called Love and Thunder. Like, and also he kisses a random like pirate lady in one scene, and we have both love interests from the other Thor movies in this.
Yeah.
I don't know. It
No,
wouldn't
it's
be
interesting.
if this movie drops and we get a hint at like, oh, off-screen Star-Lord and Thor had a thing, sort of. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
I bet if they're going to go down that road at all, Star-Lord not into it. Thor trying to get Star-Lord into it.
Okay.
If they're going to go down that route, I think Star-Lord's just like, listen, dude, I don't care that you're gay, but like, I'm not into it.
I'm not even like
bisexual. You said bisexual. I think
right.
that if they go any route, it would be that.
I'm not even like, I agree with you, but I'm not even like Star-Lord hardcore hard confirmed heterosexual. I just think Star-Lord doesn't like Thor.
No, yeah, well, yeah.
I think he's too far up his own ass.
Whatever the impression is,
yeah.
Star-Lord's just not into it. Whatever his preference is, he's just
right.
not having it with Thor.
Right. Yeah. But no, this movie was good. You should see it for yourself. I'm in a weird spot. I definitely want to see it again. I think I'm just got confirmation downstairs I'm going to see it again.
Yeah.
Sometime this week.
But I agree with your sentiment. I think the MCU in a transitional phase.
Yes.
And we're still in that transitional phase.
And I think that it almost had to go here after Thanos.
Yeah.
Thanos was like a big deal for like what felt like 5 or 6 years, and was a big deal for like 3 or 4 movies, 2 of which he was the main villain, which was kind of sort of one huge movie if you really think about it. The way they told that whole saga is still odd to me. How they did Infinity War and then took a break to show Captain Marvel and then hit her back up in Endgame. That was odd. But
also, I know nothing about this as far as the comics go. You said Wolverine, huge part of Infinity War. I guess they couldn't have expected Disney to buy Fox, but like they were so close.
It
could have happened.
Yeah, Wolverine during the original Infinity War, Wolverine was an Avenger. So was Luke Cage, I believe. I believe it's that era of Avengers that in the Infinity Gauntlet saga took place, which is what it's called in the comics. Here's what's up, right? I'm curious to see what Marvel's gonna do next, and I feel like I felt this way since WandaVision closed.
Sure.
I feel like ever since the finale of WandaVision, I've been like, can't wait to see what they do next. I'm still there.
Yeah. No, I'm in the same boat, and I'm worried too much more of this. People might start jumping ship. I'm kind of worried my parents might jump ship. Moon Knight, like I said, haven't finished it.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna be doing Moon Knight next Friday. So stick around for that.
If you wanna,
don't stay on this channel till Friday, but like pop back in next Friday.
No, do not click away from this URL.
But like just not doing anything for them. And I'm a little worried this Doctor Strange movie might also do nothing for them as far as they're in it for the long haul.
Well,
which
I think
I get.
In addition to this sort of transitional phase that we agree we're sort of in with the MCU, we also have for the first time we have almost we're edging towards oversaturation with Marvel content with all the TV shows.
Right.
Because Phase 4 is the TV show phase as far as I'm concerned. And there was I think 3 full seasons of TV before.
Yeah, we've had nonstop Marvel.
Before Black Widow even thought about releasing on. Yeah, there's been a lot I know I keep bringing it up because it was a part of this movie, but the start of this phase was WandaVision.
Right.
That feels like forever ago.
Yeah. I'm honestly blanking on if that was during quarantine or not.
It was because it was filmed they almost had to close production. I think quarantine happened with a week left of shooting or some shit like that. They barely made it.
Yeah.
And then they put it on hold because Marvel took a big long break. So I believe, if I remember correctly, WandaVision was end of 2020.
Yeah, wow.
And then I believe Black Widow was March 2021.
Right. No, you're right. Actually, Black Widow came out the day me and Pauline got engaged. That was July.
Black Widow came out the day you and Pauline got engaged. Did it really?
Yeah.
Oh, because we watched it that night.
Yeah.
That was the same
July
event.
9th.
That's right. Because then we left to go on vacation.
Yeah.
That's right.
July 9th.
2021.
Yep.
Yeah.
Black Widow hasn't been out a year. That's crazy. That
Black
feels
Widow-
like forever
Black
ago.
Widow hasn't been out. Are you fucking kidding me? Black Widow hasn't been out a year, is what you just said. That's crazy. That feels like so long ago.
Yeah.
It's the TV shows, dude.
No,
It's the fact that Florence Pugh's character was in Hawkeye. Like, as far as I'm concerned, we already got the sequel to Black Widow, which was the Hawkeye TV show,
Right.
because she was in it. That's so. Oh my God. Yeah. That confirms in what I was trying to say. What you just said confirms what I was trying to say. There's a lot of Marvel. Most of it's really good. Some of it is Moon Knight. But we're not getting the like. We're no longer in the timeline of Marvel where every couple months we get a movie and it's like, oh, that was really cool. Now I sit and wait for the next one.
Right.
There's kind of this slow trickle of canon Marvel stuff where it's
Right.
like, all right, now the Hawkeye TV show. Oh, okay, the Hawkeye TV show is sort of a B+. Oh, now we got Spider-Man. Wow, Spider-Man was fucking triple S tier. And now we have Moon Knight, and it's like, wow, Moon Knight's kind of an F, kind of a D. But now we have Doctor Strange, and it's like it's ups and downs. There's long drawn out stories versus there's a lot of Marvel, and I
definitely going through Marvel's awkward teenage years of not being too sure what they're doing, where they're going, but I believe in them. They'll figure it out down the road.
I can definitely sense some oversaturation. I can definitely sense some like you said, some form of the general public being like, all right, I'm good for a bit. There's a lot of this.
Yeah.
And we haven't really met Thanos 2 yet. So,
Christ,
yeah.
I was a little nervous that they were making Scarlet Witch Thanos 2 because she was just she's just OP.
Yeah.
But listen, we got to move on.
Yes.
We got to move on.
Yes. That was our talk about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Thank you for watching. This has been Cinematic Relief. I'm Thunder.
I'm Lightning, and once again, that was Doctor Strange in Mom.
In the Mom.
In the Mom.
And join us next episode where we talk about Moon Knight. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe.
Our channel has daily uploads from podcast video essays, Let's Plays to skits.
Be sure to watch on Twitch. We stream all our video game and podcast content live at 5 EST every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday.
Our intro is by Brad Kendrick and music by Froggy and the Friendship. Link to all that in the description below.
Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.